What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch unboxing, and as you can see, this is an enormous box. This is a Bulova, and on the outside of the box you just see this sort of Hawaiian print, surfer print on the outside. It is a very, very large box, actually almost the size of a shoebox, to give you an idea of exactly how big this watch box is, and heavy. It is extremely heavy. This is the Bulova Chronograph A limited edition. So this is a limited edition of 350 pieces, an automatic chronograph. So getting right into it, I'm going to take off the top of the box, and you can see right underneath, of course, the actual little flap falls down, and you have a beautiful wood box inside. It's sort of like a blonde wood, I guess you would call it. I'll put the larger outer cardboard box aside, and you can see inside we have a Bulova signed box. That same beautiful motif on here. I think it's painted. It's definitely raised a little bit. It feels very nice. The wood is lacquered. There's a button on the side here. Press the button and open up the box, and inside the box we have the Bulova Chronograph A, and then of course the top of the box is signed. The whole entire thing is in a beautiful velvet. It's extremely heavy, as I mentioned. These are big glass pieces that are actually on either side of the watch, and you can see it's a little bit of a 3D surfboard effect. It says Chronograph A Surfboard Limited Edition. Now, the Chronograph A was essentially a diving chronograph, but it got its nickname as the Surfboard Chronograph because of its registers there. It's a bi-compacts, obviously, and then the registers in the middle look like a surfboard, so it got the nickname Surfboard Chronograph. And I'll tell you, this is a beautiful watch, and it's very nice presentation. Obviously, the presentation is pretty incredible. Inside, you just have the warranty card, and then a little certificate here that's obviously instructions and setting, and then this is the actual limited edition certificate. So just a beautiful watch and a beautiful presentation. I'm really excited about it. So it gives you the number. This is number 60 of 350. So I'm going to take the watch out, and I will put this box aside. It is so heavy and such a nice box. It's just really beautiful. It's something that you would actually display outside of the box. So now I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So here is the watch. You can see that Bulova really faithfully recreated this watch in the image of the original Chronograph A. This gets a 38.5 millimeter case. It has a bi-directional, bi-color bezel. It is friction fitted, as you can see. So it does move in both ways. It is friction fitted. It has a pip at the 12 o'clock, red and blue. Sort of like a metallic color, and then you have silver lettering all the way around. It looks really good and feels really nice. The dial itself is a cream color. You have applied indices, which are filled with lume. You have orange on the second hands and on the hour and minutes hand, but just on the end. Those are lumed as well. And then, of course, the surfboard in the middle, what this watch is actually named or nicknamed after. You have that surfboard. That surfboard is in blue, and inside is the registers for the bi-compacts chronograph. This is the automatic version. As I mentioned, this is the limited edition automatic version, so this is limited to 350 pieces, and it gets an automatic SW510. So you get an automatic Salida movement in here, and it is the 510, which is a very good movement. 200 meters water resistance, so this is a true chronograph diver watch. It gets a screwed-in crown, which is signed. It has the classic Bulova signature on here, just like it is on the dial. Pushers are not screwed in, however, very satisfying click to these pushers, and let's listen to that. Really satisfying, feels great, very positive feeling. Resets really nicely at 12. That orange second hand looks amazing. I really love it. I like the subdials, and the actual hands on the subdials are little tiny syringe hands. They look great. The case back is screwed in. It's signed Bulova, gives you the limited edition. I'll do a close-up of that as well. The bracelet is very significant and very robust, very nicely made. All the links actually fit into each other, and there is a pin and collar system on this, so that's the only downfall of the bracelet itself. But once you get it fitted, you do have half links. It fits really nice, and it looks fantastic. It feels amazing. It's a very, very solid bracelet, and it fits right up against the case. It fits beautifully against the case. It almost makes the watch look like a tonneau-shaped case, but it's not. It almost looks like an integrated bracelet, but it's not. It really does fit beautifully against the case. 16.7 millimeters thick, so it is on the thicker side because this is an automatic, and the originals were a hand-wound Reissue movement. These are not. So it is a little bit thicker. It was either a Reissue or a Lemania. I don't remember, but I think, but I know that they were hand wound. But very, very good looking watch. And I think that the execution and what they've done here is excellent. And I've said this is a limited edition of 350 pieces, so very, very limited. They also made a quartz version of this, which is not limited. That comes on a strap. And honestly, the automatic movement, the bracelet on this, the presentation, the price isn't really that bad for this. It's $2,950, but you're getting a lot of watch for that money. Especially you're getting a watch with pretty good heritage, a very good story, and then a beautiful bracelet and a beautiful presentation. And then of course you're getting that SW510, which is a really great workhorse of a chronograph movement. Very smooth and really nice. And that box sapphire crystal, it just looks the part of a vintage chronograph, and they didn't go overboard with the size. 38.5 millimeters really wears nicely. And speaking of that, I will throw it on my wrist, but before I do, let me show you the watch I am wearing today. I am wearing my Bulova Chronograph D. This is actually on a Straps Co. Beads of Rice bracelet, and you can see these watches side by side don't really look all that different. I'll take off the Chronograph D so you guys can see. This Straps Co. Beads of Rice bracelet's really, really nice. I really am enjoying it. I just put it on here. Feels really nice. It's actually pretty well made, and I'll let you guys know how much I like it. But so far, first impressions are really good, and it looks really good on a vintage chronograph, and that's why I put it on my vintage Chronograph D. So obviously, these are not the same watch. This is a Chronograph D. This is a Chronograph A. So they are different watches. This is a tonneau-shaped case, completely with hooded lugs. This is not. However, you could see that this is actually from the 1970s, and so this is inspired by the 1970s, and you can see how very similarly proportioned these are. I think this is like 37.5 millimeters or 38 millimeters. This is, like I said, 38.5 millimeters. The lug to lug is very similar. The only difference is obviously the thickness. So the thickness on the modern version is obviously very thick compared to the hand wound version that is in my left hand, the Chronograph D, the actual vintage watch. That's because, like I said, this gets a hand wound Reissue 733, I want to say, or 72. I don't remember exactly which movement this one gets, but and I'll be doing a full review of this watch. I've had this for a while now. I just haven't gotten around to doing a full review on it. But you could see, like I said, comparing the two, they do look very similar, and they're set up very similar. They look very, very similar, especially the logos are very similar. The hands are very similar. As you can see, they both get that orange accent on the second hand, and then the subdial on here gets an orange hand, but the hour and minutes get orange on. The orange is a little bit more subdued on the current model, whereas this vintage one might have a replaced second hand, so I don't know that for the chronograph. However, like I said, just a cool watch, and if this crown wasn't replaced, because I believe the crown was actually replaced on this watch, it would be signed very similarly to this crown, which has that Bulova across it. And I'll do close-ups of all that so you guys could see. But throwing it on my wrist, I have a 7.5-inch wrist. And this bracelet just is insane. When you look at this on my wrist, it looks incredible. Look at that. It just catches the light. It looks absolutely beautiful. And it doesn't wear big. It sits down on my wrist. So that's 16 millimeters thickness. Yes, that is a thick watch, but it doesn't wear huge at all. Look at it on my wrist. It doesn't feel big. It doesn't wear big. It just feels really nice on my wrist. Anyway, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do a loom shot. I'm going to be wearing this over the next few weeks, and of course I'm going to give you a full review on it. So obviously though, first impressions, I really like this watch. I think it's really cool. I have to give it back in, I think about 2 weeks. So I'll wear it for the next 2 weeks and then I'm going to return it. But like I said, I really love the watch. I think that I'm going to be enjoying it over the next few weeks. And I will definitely let you guys know. So quickly, a lume shot, then we'll wrap up the video. And there you have it. Not a ton of lume on the dial itself. That lume pip is very nicely lumed. The indices are lumed, and obviously the hands are lumed. You can see those hands are lumed, but not a ton of lume on them. You never really get a ton of lume from major brands like this. And that's a shame. I think they could definitely add more lume for whatever reason. I don't know why they don't. But in my opinion, I really am not buying this watch for the lume. I'm really buying it for the looks. And I think this watch is just a really good looking watch, really well made. And it offers something really cool that you don't get from a lot of brands. I think this looks amazing. Anyway, tell me what you think of this watch in the comments below. $2,950 is a lot of money, but you're getting a lot of watch for that money, in my opinion. Even the vintage ones, that if you would want to buy one of these in a vintage form, they're a lot more expensive. They also make the quartz version of this, and the quartz version I think is under $500, around $400. That's a really nice watch, but you don't get that bracelet, and obviously it is quartz. But it's all a give and take, and then that presentation box is pretty amazing. But tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. Also, follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description below. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it doesn't interrupt your Prime benefits, cost you anything extra. However, it helps support the channel, and I very, very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.